Good afternoon. This is Sanjay Agarwal. Today we are at the Drone Festival, which is being held at Pragati Maidan, New Delhi. This has been inaugurated by our country's Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji yesterday, and we had all the top ministers for Modi ji's cabinet, including the Civil Aviation Minister. So this is about drones, and the country is taking a leap forward. So we have some young talent amongst us. So we have Chirag, Sarvesh, and what's your name? Sorry, Rohit. Yeah. So we have these three young, bright talent with us. They have a company. It's Micro Ampere. Yeah. So over to Chirag. You talk about yourself and your company.
Yeah, so basically, I started this company when I thought that there are lot of things that are required in the defense sector, but nobody is categorizing them. So I thought of that, and I started out with the drones itself. And later on, I realized that drones is a target of many companies, but IFF, if friend or foe, is not a target of much companies. So we are currently focusing on that domain, and there's a huge demand for that. I think my partner can tell you much more about the demand because he's on the
Great.
demand.
So over to Rohit. So you can introduce yourself and your maybe educational. People want to know that जिससे बात हो रही है, what's their educational background.
Sure.
You're
So,
engineering graduates?
right.
Yeah.
So my name is Rohit Agarwal. So I'm a BTech graduate in electronics engineering. I started out my journey as a DRDO firmware engineer. After that, I jumped to the drone industry. I was the project manager for major roles that have been carried out in India for the first time, like the first medicinal delivery, like working for the first BB lost trials in India, the longest delivery in India that has been taken carried out. So all this experience in drone domain and working with the 4G people in DRDO and ISRO itself brought me to the knowledge that we should really do something for the defense technology. So we came together, all three of us, and we started out to point out to a particular segment which is called identify friend or foe. It's a great segment because we need to identify or we need to distinguish between two kinds of people. One is our friend, which is inside, which is towards us, which is working with us, and to distinguish it from the foe, from the other tanks. So we have developed some kinds of radiators and some kinds of particular lighting solution that takes out some a particular frequency from it, and only the attack helicopters and only the fighter jet pilots who have a particular equipment can identify between us and the foe. So currently in India we're trying to manufacture it completely indigenized. All the lights, all the radiators, all the frequency emitters are being developed by us. So we're trying to focus on this particular segment, and today we're here at the Drone Festival. This is a wonderful event where we can actually see all the kinds of drones that are available in India, and we're trying to mount our things, all our technologies that we have developed, so that we can mount our IFF panels to all these kinds of drones. So whenever there's something happens, maybe near Pathankot, you must have seen that in the news that there was a drone attack in Pathankot. It was really difficult for the 4G people to identify, oh, a drone is flying. Whose drone is this? Is it our drones or is it some Pakistani drone? So we're here to cater, so to find how we can implement, we can mount our solution to all of these drones, so that any 4G person can just look at the drone and, oh, it's my drone, let's not shoot it down. So we're trying to figure out how we can collab together, and we can talk to other companies, understand their requirements and all. So this is
This is perfect. What you're talking about, if I IFF. So as you said, as I'm understanding, earlier when the enemy aeroplanes would intrude.
Right.
So here, because it's within our country,
Right.
so then who is the person who's operating a drone with malified intentions? So that detection would be done.
It's done by us.
Okay,
Correct.
so now we'll give it to the mic to Sarvesh, and you want to add something to the if what you're doing about it, how you're building up the technology.
So thank you for the opportunity.
A little louder, you're so soft.
Okay, thank you for the
This pitch is okay.
thank you for the opportunity. And my name is Sarvesh, and we all work together at Microampere. And I think my partner has said enough about the company and the
You want to share
technology.
something on the if platform? What is it exactly for the layman?
So
How do you really identify? Means what goes into that?
okay,
With the
okay.
technical overview.
Okay. So basically, what we does is there is some sort of waves emit from that thing, and the particular wavelength of that wave that pilot knows कि इतने wavelength की wave आ रही है, so I can capture that. So we basically do that कि वो particular wavelength ही जाए और उस particular wavelength की wave उस pilot को दिखे, so that कोई इसको copy ना कर पाए. It's all like encrypted.
Great.
So wavelength का पूरा particular funda.
So what is Chirag now?
I'd like to add a point to that.
And we want to know whether like whatever technology you're building up, so
Yeah.
do you need patents and how do you
Yeah.
safeguard your own domain?
So what my partner meant to describe was that there are various fighter jets, or let's say cameras, or let's say uh, glasses, all right, that the military uses, that the air force uses, and we focus our product specialized on the like visual source, let's call it. So the if person is using a glass which uses a wavelength of 8 to 10 micron, so we'll make a system that will emit the same micron. So if you're wearing glasses from some other company or some other design that recognizes some other wavelength, that you won't be able to find it. So what happens in that case is that Indian pilots will be able to identify that this system is ours and this one is not. But Pakistan or China, they won't be able to identify, they won't be able to see any lights. So it will be like a plain wall to them, but we will see that there's some indication, there's some identification.
Alright.
That is our complete project.
Perfect.
And
So
it can be implemented on many ways and many things. That is the case.
so now you're essentially, as you've been inside, so you're trying to get those people to use your stuff, the if.
Yeah, my partner is more on the defense
Marketing,
side. Yeah,
defense side.
marketing. and
Yeah,
sales.
I could understand. He's
Right.
like
He has
smart chap.
experience from DRDO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're trying to figure out, we have we have so many people, helping us to understand the problem well. So I myself go to these positions where the units are doing their drills. Maybe they're having some exercise. So I myself jump on the tank to understand how to mount it on a tank, so that whenever a fighting, maybe a fighter jet, an attack helicopter, maybe Rudra, maybe Apache, anything comes up, in which direction the aircraft is coming up, how should you mount it, what should be the angle of these things. So when you eventually understand the problem, that is the only time when you can actually develop a solution out of it. So our plus point is that we have been to these locations, we have entered inside of a cockpit, we have jumped on a tanks to understand the problem, and when you can actually feel the problem, then only that is the only option when you can develop a solution out of it. So we have figured out multiple ways how we can actually implement this solution, and not only the development, but we have also trying to figure out how does this whole operation works out. What should be the guiding steps on installing this to each and every tank of the Indian aircrafts. And obviously here at the drone festival, we're trying to find out how we can implement our small patches, maybe lighting solutions, the micro wavelength emitter patches, the frequency patches to all of these drones. The drones which are being developed by the Adani drones, or maybe the companies like Omnipresent Robotics, so how they can implement they can use our technologies on their drones. So whenever there's any drill happening at these sensitive locations, maybe the northern command, maybe at the east side, the Fauji can fast as possible, he'll just look at the drone, he'll take up an equipment, just see the drone, okay, this is my drone, let's not shoot it down. By the help of this technology, we can eventually help in the prevention of such activities that are being carried out in the news. We can see every day that there is some new drone activity coming up from the border side, maybe from the LC, from LAC. So IFF is the only solution to identify very quickly that the drone is ours or is someone else.
So this is the technology of the future. And are you being funded? How do you take care of that's an essential, part.
No, we have bootstrapped our startup,
Alright.
and the orders that we are getting from the military are like good enough for keeping us funded and keeping us moving.
Perfect.
That is the case.
So we wish you all the best, all of you and your team who's not present here. Yeah, thank you. Sanjay Agarwal signing off.